Why do you panic when they don't text back? Why do you panic when they don't call or they don't show up at the time you think they should? Or you meet up with them and you're getting this kind of read from their actions that maybe they're a little bit distracted, or maybe they're not focused on me, or maybe they're not prioritizing me. Okay? This is what we're talking about today. The pull away, or the perception of a pull away or disengagement, and then the coinciding panic that arises in our nervous system. This is like, what is going on? And we get a very uncomfortable set of sensations inside that people are going to call anxiety. I hear that all the time. They're just like, oh my God, my anxiety went off the charts. Well, what does that mean? It means that I had all these feelings inside and I'm worried and I'm nervous and I'm jittery and I'm checking and I'm monitoring and I'm looking at all their social media feeds and maybe I'm following them around and blah, 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 right? Why does this happen? Why does our system go into this full-blown panic when they don't text back? So we're going to use the texting back as the example for kind of all of these different methods of pull away. Because as we explore this, we're eventually going to figure out that it's not about the texting, and it's not about the lack of response, and it's not about the pulling away. It's about something else. What is that something else? Well, when they don't text back, usually, probably always, what happens is we have an idea that enters into our mind, a belief. And that belief says they're not texting back because ... So I did a quick brainstorm of the various thoughts and beliefs that come up that I've heard from people, and I've thought myself many times. And the list is quite long. And I'm going to read several of them here, right? So when they don't text back, it means they're losing interest in me. They don't miss me. They don't think about me when I'm not there. I'm not important to them. I'm no longer a priority. They're choosing someone or someone else over me. They're happier without me. They're pulling away. They're deliberately creating distance. They don't want the same level of connection that I want. I care more than they do. I'm more invested than they are. I need them more than they need me. I've become too much for them. I did something wrong. They're upset with me. I said something that changed how they see me. They've discovered something about me they don't like. They're getting tired of me. They're bored with me. Oh, the honeymoon period is ending. They finally see who I really am. They're realizing that I'm not actually good enough, that I don't deserve them. They regret choosing me. I can tell. They're talking to someone else. There is someone better. Maybe they found someone better. I'm being replaced. They're cheating. They're preparing to leave. This is the beginning of the end. They're going to disappear. I'm about to be abandoned. I'm about to be alone again. Wow, huh? I remember thinking those, and there were times that I probably thought a dozen of those at the same time, right? There is some indicator, some change that my system noticed, and then it fixates on the change because it says the change means something. The change wouldn't be there if it was the way that it was. The change wouldn't be there if they were still invested the way they were last week or 6 months ago or when we first started dating. Because the change is there, that clearly means something. What does it mean? Well, it means this. One of these things is happening. Something bad is happening, right? Because see, if them not texting back was interpreted by my nervous system as something positive, I wouldn't be ruminating about it. I wouldn't be having anxiety. I wouldn't be having any of these negative emotional states. I'd be like, yee, woohoo, like rainbows and unicorns. Like I'm a happy duck. No. Like, we are experiencing anxiety and uncomfortable emotional states because our nervous system is interpreting this as something dangerous, as something threatening. Okay? So we got this whole list of catastrophizing or negative assumptions or negative projections that just immediately get dumped onto this experience. But let's go to the next level deeper, because the next level deeper is more. It's not just they're going to leave me. It's not just that they're talking to somebody else. It's not just that they're distracted or getting bored or they've discovered who I really am. It's that these things are happening and that means something about me. And that will sound something like they're not texting back because they're talking to somebody else, because I'm forgettable, or I am disposable, or I am replaceable. I'm not desirable enough to hold someone's attention. I'm not worthy enough to attract that kind of person. I'm not valuable enough for someone to come sacrifice their time, energy, or whatever to focus on me. I'm not worth prioritizing. People will always get tired of me. Nobody ever stays interested in me. Once people know the real me, then they leave. These are very common beliefs. We can call them core wounds. This deep-seated shadow belief, if you're into Jungian stuff, it's a deep-seated shadow or deep-seated core belief that there is something wrong with me. I am disposable. And looking at or holding this idea that I am disposable, I am not worthy, I am unlovable, I'm broken. Holding that idea for even a fraction of a second is incredibly uncomfortable. And so our system doesn't want to do it. And it will evade, dodge, dip, and dive in any way it can to avoid sitting with this sensation, believing for a moment that I suck and that this person who I like and I want more time with them and I admire them or desire them or whatever, that this person is choosing to deprioritize me, choosing to prioritize someone else or something else over me because I suck. I'm going to lose things I care about because of my brokenness. Where'd we learn that? Well, same place we learned it all, right? Here's a little 2-year-old sitting in a high chair and some kind of attachment rupture happens with the primary caretakers. And then because of the developmental phase of that child's brain at that time, it reaches the conclusion, I'm going to lose connection or lose approval or lose love from people that I care about, the most important ones that I care about, because of something about me, because I'm broken, because I screwed up, because I'm bad, right? That's where the core wounds form. So the idea is planted. It's like the conclusion is reached, faultily, but whatever, it's still reached. And then that turns into a lesson that then gets integrated into the deepest parts of the survival kind of decision-making networks of the brain. And now, here we are, 20, 30, 40 years later, and that belief is now freaking out because it doesn't want to face this idea. It's spent the last 20, 30, or 40 years finding ways to numb out, avoid, suppress, push down, project, whatever, to try to avoid that sensation. Get me the hell away from it. Don't ever let that occur, or don't ever let anything happen that makes us look that right in the eye. Because if I look it right in the eye, I can't deny it, because I actually believe it's true. So we went from a phone sitting on a table, being silent, not ringing, no notifications, no alerts. And it's been 30 minutes, 3 hours, a day, whatever it is, some period of time has passed, and all it is a motionless, silent phone sitting on a table. But somehow our nervous system took this motionless, silent piece of plastic and glass, and it turned it into a fundamental indictment of my worthiness on this earth. That is attachment wounds at work. Who would you be if all the fear, anxiety, and chattering thoughts finally went quiet?
Many people in daily lives, they are just holding themselves back.
And I looked up yoga retreats and all these different things, but nothing quite resonated.
Honestly, I didn't think about it. Just like, I'm going.
Felt like every emotions from every person was valid here.
Allow yourself to be fully yourself.
I think it was a contained environment where you could freely express yourself.
That's a big lesson. It's okay to get close to people. It's okay to share. It's okay to be vulnerable.
And no one will shame whatever feeling you feel. Nobody makes it bad or wrong or even uncomfortable.
They added more than it would have been one-on-one.
Don't be afraid. Don't worry about the money. It's totally worth it.
I did not have the capability of stating my needs and boundaries and possibly disappointing somebody. But in this moment, I could.
See, it's not about the phone. It's not even about the text message. And it's not about the period of time, however long it was. It's about the beliefs that we attach, the meaning that we attach to that event, and that those meanings are basically informed by our fundamental beliefs about self. And then the meaning gets attached that fires up our beliefs. See, I told you, this little voice, the shadow voice inside. See, I told you you sucked. I told you you're unlovable. I told you it would never last. Here it is. It's happening now. Self-hatred, self-blame, negative self-talk, self-attack. That's a whole other topic. But the attacking of self, because that's what was modeled to us. Because that's the way our caregivers tried to get us to change our behavior. And because that was shown to us, we now do it towards ourselves because we're trying to get ourselves to change behavior. Anyway, that's a whole thing. The phone is just a meaningless piece of device. The fact that they have not texted back in 30 minutes or 3 hours or however long is for reasons, but we don't know any of them. All we know is that it hasn't happened. We don't know where they are, what they're fighting with, the stresses that have occurred in their life unexpectedly. Maybe their phone device thing is just broke or fell in the toilet or whatever. That just happened to a friend of mine a couple months ago. And everyone's freaking out about like, why is this person offline? Is she okay? Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, I literally dropped my phone in the toilet, fell out of my pocket. It's not waterproof. Phone's dead. Right? Didn't have the finances to replace it immediately. So there's a million different reasons why this person has not texted you back. There's a million different reasons why this person is pulling away, not answering the phone, or showing up at dates and seeming disinterested. Whatever the thing is that's being triggered, there's a million different reasons it could be causing it. But our nervous system narrows that entire band of possibilities down to this one that basically leads to an indictment of my worthiness. It narrows everything down to this laser focused thing that says, you suck, there's something wrong with you. And then my nervous system is like, no, don't do it, don't do it. Freak out, freak out. Okay, what's the next layer? Well, the next layer is the predictive modeling that our brain is so good at. So it says, if I'm a terrible, broken, unlovable, replaceable, nasty human that's fundamentally flawed in some way, then the bad thing is going to happen. They're going to leave me. They're going to shut this down. They're going to replace me. They're going to break up, right? That's many of the things we read on the list earlier. We're jumping automatically to the prediction of calamity. But the prediction of calamity is there because we have the belief that we deserve it. That's what happens. That I'm not awesome enough or attractive enough or thin enough or smart enough or wealthy enough to actually keep that person's attention or prioritization on me. I'm not enough for them to actually make sacrifices to come be with me. So we're predicting this negative outcome, predicting this calamity, and then our system begins activating all of the defensive, fear-based circuitry in response to that prediction. And now, what do we have? Anxiety. It's just a fancy name for fear. It's just a fancy name for being afraid. What are you so damn afraid of? So they don't text back. What are you so damn afraid of? I'm afraid they're going to leave me. Good. Good in the sense of you've discovered it, not good in the sense that they're leaving you. I'm afraid that they're going to find out something. They're going to reach some conclusion about me and I can't defend myself. They're going to discover the real me that's messy and broken and selfish sometimes and hasn't got it all figured out and isn't nearly as cool on the inside as I appear to be on the outside. What are you so damn afraid of? What is the belief that is there underneath this that's pushing all these emotions around? Why are we panicking over something so mundane as they haven't texted me back in 30 minutes? These are all good questions. And I recommend you ask them. And I recommend even more, you go find answers for them. Right? If you go do all that work and you dig into that using all the various skills that you have and you've come up empty, then get some help. Talk to a friend. Start a men's group. Go to a women's circle. Talk to a coach like me or someone else in this scene, field, whatever. Right? Get outside perspective, because oftentimes those beliefs we have are so deep and so woven into everything that it's very difficult to get outside and get perspective on them. It took me years. It took me years of many, many repetitions and a great deal of focus, practice. Honestly, you know what it took? It took a lot of failure. It took many, many, many reps of failure before I finally started getting underneath the corners and I was able to peel back this facade of negative beliefs and just be like, oh, like there's another way. I couldn't even see another way because the beliefs are so rock bottom, part of the they feel like they're just part of the foundation of reality. Like this is a truth about me and my place in this world. And it just doesn't even go questioned. Unexamined life, right? There's yet another layer to this. And this is where it gets super toxic. I have beliefs inside me about my worthiness, my unworthiness. I have beliefs inside me about I don't have what it takes to keep good things, to attract good things, for good people and good things and good situations to actually want to be with me. I don't believe that I have that worthiness. And this situation, whatever it is, they're not texting back or they're not being responsive when we're trying to talk, or they're kind of being, off in la la land when we're on a date or something. Whatever it is, it feels like they're pulling away. That I interpret that through my wounds and I say, this means something. This means that something bad's going to happen. So I interpret it through the wounds and I make this faulty prediction about like what's going to happen next. And then the thing that's going to happen next is terrible. Of course it's terrible because my wound is terrible. It's terrible. And then my system activates. It begins lighting up all the bonfires of fear, reactivity, hypervigilance, whatever, all the stuff we have associated with anxiety is in a highly activated nervous system. It does all that because it's making this anticipation about how bad it's going to be in a couple of minutes or days or weeks or whatever. Now I'm filled with anxiety. Now I'm filled with uncomfortable emotions. They're not even negative. They're just uncomfortable. And then this is where it gets toxic. We say, I wasn't feeling that a few moments ago. I wasn't feeling that when you were all looking at me and investing in me and basically giving me all the signals that tell me I'm worthy so that I can squish my core wounds down and pretend like they don't exist. La, 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 I don't see you. I don't hear you. So when you were giving me enough signals, messaging, attention, validation, whatever, that I could suppress my core wounds, I felt fine. So that's what I want. That's why I'm in a relationship. Not because I love you, just because I want you to like give me enough validation pinatas that I can squish my insecurities down. But then the person doesn't text back or they don't respond, they get the sensations that they're pulling away. And then all my fears and anxieties light up. My nervous system catches on fire and I'm freaking out and ruminating and can't eat, can't sleep, all the normal stuff, right? And then the brain says, you did this. The brain literally reaches the conclusion, well, a few minutes ago or a few days ago, this wasn't happening. Now it is happening. What's the difference? Oh, the difference is they didn't text me back. So it's like, you made me feel this way. That is false. That is 100% false. They inadvertently triggered a landmine, an emotional landmine that's already inside you. They're not the cause. They're just a trigger. But okay, a lot of people don't like that idea. That's fine. But now, that's already difficult. Now we're already in toxic territory. Now we go to super toxic territory. And super toxic territory is you need to change your behavior so that I don't feel this uncomfortable emotion. Now we're lost. That relationship has no future. Well, it does. It's just a future mired in like discomfort and fights and conflict and projections and toxic morass of nastiness. Don't do that, right? Where this leads into super toxic town is you need to change your behavior so that I don't feel an uncomfortable emotion. So that my insecurities don't get activated. You need to change every aspect of your life to fall into conformity to the kinds of behaviors, validation, approval, etc., that I need so that I can keep suppressing my insecurities. That is not a good formula. That's not a good strategy. And a lot of people do it. I mean, it makes sense. I have compassion for it. I've done it. I get it. But once we understand what's going on and we can see how all the pieces kind of link together, we realize just how nasty that strategy is. I have this anxiety, which is just fear, and I am terrified of facing a situation where my insecurities light on fire, bubble up to the surface, and hijack my system. Yes, that sucks. It's not a fun experience. It's profoundly uncomfortable. But if we avoid it, and we keep avoiding it, and we keep just like leaping from one partner to the next, thinking that someday we're going to find someone that's just going to be just right and they're not going to trigger any of my insecurities, well, that leads to a certain type of relationship. That leads to relationships that would be labeled as codependent, enmeshed, and toxic. Because you are so dependent on another person consenting and having the discipline to basically follow your script, that they will feel compressed, squeezed, manipulated, used, consumed, eventually. At the beginning, they might just like the connection and you and the sex and da-da-da. They might like all that so much, they're just like, I can tolerate this, right? It's just, my partner is a little bit insecure. I just want to help them with it. But I'm just saying this because I've seen it play out so many times. And I talk to people at different stages along this journey, and I'm like, okay, I recognize this, what you're describing in your relationship, I recognize as this. It sure looks like the beginning of this journey that looks like this, A, B, C, D, E, F. And E and F are basically massive relational rupture, and then the relationship is over for good, like it's a permanent ending. Sometimes that's needed, right? I'm not going to judge. But the person is here telling me that's what they don't want. They do not want a permanent ending or epic rupture in this relationship. So I hear that and I say, okay, let's help you with this based upon what I've seen, what I know, and the various models and archetypes that I use to kind of deduce these things. That tells me we need to do this. And they're like, what's that? It's like, you need to address your insecurities head on. That's the fuel that's driving all of this. The core beliefs of wrongness, of badness, of unworthiness. You need to go face those. You need to go look the fear right in the eye and spend time with it. Understand where it comes from, and most likely grieve. Most likely have a lot of tears about whatever situation taught you that lesson. In my opinion, that's the only way through this. I can't, maybe? Right off the top of my head, I can't think of any path I've ever seen anybody take through this situation that led to a healthy relationship that was not this path. Like at some point in time, You have to let go of the projection and blame towards the other and turn inward and say, all this chaos, all this pain, all this misery and fear and anxiety and everything else is mine entirely. I had it inside me, maybe sleeping, maybe at a dull roar, maybe at a loud roar. But whatever it was, I had that inside me before I ever met that person. That is a path of true power. That is a path of self-mastery. That is a path to become the emotional superhero. And that path pays dividends, for sure. It is difficult. It is uncomfortable. So is training for a marathon. It is many hours of crawling through the muck and of self-awareness and understanding and digging up past and trying to find themes and patterns in the way that your emotions rise and fall and what they respond to and who they respond to and what kind of situations I'm attracted to or repelled by or whatever. Like there's this huge, interesting project. But when you begin, at the beginning, it seems overwhelming, but as you begin to gain traction in that project, that skill set, you increase self-attunement, you increase self-trust, you increase self-discovery. You begin to build a true relationship with self. And as you gain more and more traction in that and you make more and more progress, you start to see that text that has the phone that's been silent for 3 hours. You're kind of like, I remember the times when that bothered me, and now it kind of doesn't. I wonder what's up. See? Curiosity. Because the core wounds are beginning to dissolve. Its phone sitting silent on the table is no longer immediately jumped to meaning and an indictment on me. It is that begins to dissolve. And when it begins to dissolve, honestly, you're just doing your own thing. Like you're living your life, you're shopping for dinner, playing video games, driving, reading, researching, whatever it is that you find enjoyable. You're just doing that thing and you're like, oh yeah, I haven't heard from my partner in a while. Wonder what's up. Because the brain is not saying what's up is they're cheating on me or deprioritizing or you're an ugly, unattractive piece of garbage that they just can't wait to throw in the dustbin. That's what's not happening anymore. And in the absence of that, what is happening? Just kind of like, well, I don't know what's happening. Remember, there's a million different reasons that could lead to this point where they don't have the phone, that they're not responding. And maybe, yeah, sure. Sometimes you're just like, I wonder what's going on. Was she in a traffic accident? This is a little bit unusual. You're just like, hey, you okay? Like, it's a little bit strange you haven't responded. And then you go back to what you're doing. And then, that goes a couple rounds of that and you begin to feel it. And you're just like, oh, yeah, I'm feeling some anxiety. I'm feeling this threat of uncertainty. I'm feeling this idea that something is amiss. But the something that is amiss is not, I'm bad. It's not, I'm wrong. It's not, there's something terrible about me. And all these terrible things are going to happen because they finally figured out how disgusting I am. That's not what's going on. The something amiss is, oh, life is difficult and unexpected curveballs come our way sometimes. And I wonder if what's happening right now is one of those unexpected curveballs just hit my partner. And I wonder if I can help in some way. See, it's different. We must address the insecurities, or the insecurities will control you. They will drive you around like a gigantic flesh zombie and ruin your life. Definitely ruin your emotional well-being. So that, in my opinion, is why we panic when the partner doesn't text back and what we can do about it. And like I mentioned at the beginning, texting back is just the example case we're using for all the various ways that we begin to detect that our partner is somehow pulling away. But wait, but Kirby, this happened in my life, and my partner really was pulling away. She really was cheating on me. What do you say about that? Okay, here's what I say about that. So, your partner cheats on you. Again, what does it mean? Went through this battle. I totally get it. I am a war veteran in this particular battle, right? I get it. But the thing is, the end of the day, the end of the story, if you really truly want to reach the other side, there is only one conclusion. And that is, so they cheat. So they do the thing. So they kiss somebody. So they do whatever the hell it is, right? The reason that hurts is because I am attaching meaning to it. And the meaning I'm attaching is she's going over there to kiss that guy because I suck. Because she's more interested in him than she is in me. Fine. So, if you're more interested in him, then go do that. I don't want you around anymore. Right? There's no way that this will be interpreted through my nervous system as somehow I'm bad or perpetrator or indictment of my well-being or any of that stuff. Those insecurities have been dealt with, processed, eliminated, mostly, right? Are we ever 100%? I don't know. But I know that in this particular domain, that thing happens and it's like, oh, and I've been through this after, right? And then there it was. And then there was the infidelity. Well, really, I don't even like the word. It's true. I mean, it works, but I like the way that it sits in my mind is violation of contract, violation of agreement. I'm like, we were in this relationship under this kind of agreement with this kind of structure, and it did not involve that, right? We kind of agreed to that. And now you have violated that agreement by going over to do that thing. Why? Probably because you got some unresolved attachment wound and you're looking for attention and maybe you're drinking and blah, 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 who knows what, right? I don't care, right? Whatever it was, you did that for the reasons that exist inside you. And that's a violation of the agreement. This relationship is no longer the thing that I thought it was. It's not the thing I agreed to. So I'm out. Bye-bye. Right? And I can walk away from that with no emotional payload. I might have sadness just because I enjoyed our time together. I was looking, I had kind of had these plans. We're going to go do XYZ together and da-da-da-da. But those are gone now. So now I grieve in the sense of I go through the various stages so I can come to acceptance of the reality that's in front of me. Okay, this is the reality that's in front of me. That person is not who I thought they were, and they're not going to be in a relationship the way that I thought they would be or whatever. And it's like, good luck. And I might cut all contact and, various things. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. But that's the link. The event happens. I attach meaning to it. The meaning that I attach to it is fueled by, it's authored by my core wounds that are also the source of my insecurity. So we can say that my insecurities create a set of meanings that get attached to that event. And the meanings that get attached loop back around to reinforce the core wound. And now my system is reeling in panic and anxiety and fear because it does not want to face the reality that I really am that bad. So our core wounds and our insecurities are what's driving everything. Evaporate those, this whole problem goes away. Reliably. So that's the plan. That's the assignment. That's our task. That's the challenge that this life and this universe has put before us. Do we rise to that challenge or do we not? And I'll tell you, as someone that chose not to rise to that challenge for an extended period of time, many, many years and decades, I chose not to rise to that occasion and instead just numbed out, found distractions, found ways to suppress the thing, blah, blah, blah. In my opinion, my advice is don't choose that road. That road is filled with regrets, filled with problems, and you get to a point where you're looking back and you're realizing how much time you lost playing video games or smoking dope or chasing women or watching movies or people pleasing or whatever, right? You just realize that you have a tremendous period of time where you were living your life for somebody else. You're living your life either running from something you're terrified of or running towards something that you think would give you enough validation to suppress your fears. And none of that's authentic. None of that's you. And it doesn't feel good. It's not fun. It's not fun to look back on that and be like, ugh, if I had just known, I would have done things so differently. So that's why I'm here, to share these perspectives on this stuff that I've gained along the way. Hopefully save a couple of lives in the process. Thank you all again for listening. I love being here. I love what I do. This is a joy for me. So thank you all for being a part of it. I wish you the best. Peace.